Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 115. Now, if you are someone who has a fair amount of weight to lose, like 3, 4, 5, 6 plus stone, this is going to be incredibly useful. So, I had a client join me last year who managed to lose a substantial amount of weight by herself and then couldn't get any farther. And now she's coming to work with me, or she's came to work with me. She's starting to lose weight. But this is the cool part. And this is the part that most of you don't think about. So like when you decide you want to lose weight, right? Let's say it's 5 stone, because that's a nice round, easy number. You have 5 stone to lose. Fine. But you've got a lot more than that to lose. You have got a lot of thoughts, a lot of habits, a lot of behaviours, a lot of beliefs. And if you have 5 stone to lose, which is what, 50, 4 times 5, 20, 60. If you've got 60 pounds to lose, you might sit down and do these calculations and say, right, so I've got quite a lot of weight to lose. I should probably be able to lose about 2 pounds a week. So if I've got 60 pounds to lose, I should be able to do that in 30 weeks, right? And on paper, on a calculator, yes, that works out beautifully. But you are not a piece of paper. Your life is not a calculator. You are a very complex and emotional human being. You are a person who at that point is someone who is supposed to be carrying 5 stones of weight. Like, remember, that weight's not there for no reason. It's not there because it's not supposed to be there. It's there because you have put it there. Indirectly, you've not woken up each day and said, right, how can I gain weight today? Nobody does that. But it's there indirectly because of the way that you live your life, the choices, habits, behaviours, etc., etc. So, when you're doing these calculations, you don't take all of that into account. And the thing to remember here is that it is never like a 50-50 decision. It's never a case of, okay, do I stay the way I am, or do I just do this thing and make it come down? It's never that easy. The scales are always, not the weight scales, but things are always balanced in favour of staying the same. So it's never a 50-50 decision. It's never a level playing ground. For me, it's more like 75% in favour of staying the same, because that's who you are, that's who you're supposed to be, that's where your weight's supposed to be. The other 25% is in the direction of change, and that's why it's so difficult to change, because yes, if you look at it logically and run the numbers, and yes, in 30 weeks' time, I could be 5 stone lighter if I just lose 2 pounds a week. Simple, easy, but try and do it. Try and fight against the person that you are. Remember, when you're trying to lose weight, it's not as simple as, well, if I just do this stuff, my weight will come down. You're fighting against the weight that you're supposed to be at. Now, remember, you won't have listened to that episode. I don't want to dive into it too much. Remember, weight set point theory is not a thing. Your body does not have a weight it's supposed to be. It doesn't have a happy weight. I mean, it does, but it's relative. What I mean is, when I say you're fighting against it, if you are 16 stone, it's because you're supposed to be there, because that is the scale that you are eating at. It's the scale that you're drinking at. It's the amount of screen time that you have, the amount of time you spend sitting down, the amount of TV you watch, the amount of takeaways you order, the amount of snacking that you do in between meals. Your weight is and always will be exactly where it's supposed to be, based on the complex equation of habits multiplied by mindset, multiplied by behaviours, divided by blah, blah, blah. So that's what I mean by that, right? Your weight did not get to 16 stone by itself. You took it there. You didn't want it to go there, but it's the outcome of all of the choices that you've made. So, where did I pick up from that? These tangents are terrible. They take my mind in another direction. I can't remember how to get back to where I was. So you want to lose 5 stone. That's fine. But what you need to understand is that it is never going to be as simple. I mean, there might be the odd person who does manage this, who just goes from A to B without addressing any of the underlying reasons, right? You're always going to get those people. They tend not to last very long when they do get to their weight. But this person that joined the group last year, this happens a lot. It's just this single person's popped into my head right now. This happens a lot. People will manage to get quite far by themselves. And yeah, it's funny actually. It does tend to be a January thing, and then they tend to come and work with me like once they get towards the summer. I could say that there's probably grounds for quite a pattern there. I had someone last year joined after listening to the podcast. She listened to lots of the podcast. Listening to this podcast helped her manage to lose a significant amount of weight on her own, and then it got to the summer. She couldn't get any farther, but she still has a significant amount of weight to lose. I can't remember the exact numbers. She'd lost multiple stones by herself so far through the year. Still has multiple stones to lose. And that's the point of this one, right? That's the point of this episode, because more weight loss. We often get carried away talking about the problems that weight loss solves. But something that people don't talk about are the problems that weight loss brings, which is an unusual topic and not something I've spoke about before. So yes, you will be less out of breath. You'll be able to climb the stairs easier. You'll be able to sleep better. Your mobility will be improved. You'll have better energy levels, blah, 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 blah. But what's going to happen is, if you're someone carrying a higher level of body weight, it's there because various things have happened in your life, or you've developed, like maybe you went through a really tough breakup and you developed a series of food or drink habits associated with that. Or maybe you went through a bout of depression and you're on medication for a year and your weight went up during that. Maybe you've had a baby and your weight went up because of that. Or maybe you developed some habits during pregnancy. Maybe you went through postnatal depression, developed some habits during that. So your weight gets to a higher level, perhaps the highest weight that you've ever been. You get to a point in life where life feels better now. You've overcome that thing, or it's not as tough anymore, and you feel ready to make a change, to start taking care of your health, to do this for your kids or whatever. And you start to lose weight, right? And you lose the first 2 to 3 stone relatively easily because you were motivated. Like, in all honesty, like, if you have a lot of weight to lose, you do not need some elaborate plan. You do not need the perfect calorie numbers. You just need to start. That's it. Pick anything and start. The weight will fall off. Once it stops falling off, you've gone as far as you can take yourself until you've worked on the next thing. So it could be that, let's say someone has developed a habit of emotional eating. You might be able to lose 2 or 3 stone by yourself while still emotional eating, because you can still do enough of the things, enough of the time, so that emotional eating doesn't slow you down. But you get to a point where, right, I'm 3 stone lighter, this is great, but I've hit a plateau. And remember, weight loss plateaus are not a thing. They do not exist. Not in the sense that most people think. People think that their weight just magically stops, and that's when people start thinking about, oh, this must just be my happy weight, blah, blah, blah. Weight loss plateaus are not a thing. Yes, your weight loss might stop, but if your weight loss ever stops, it's because you've stopped doing the things to get there, or the things that you're doing are no longer effective. So, for example, this person has lost 3 stone, and they've run in. Let's come at it from this angle, right? When I say more weight loss, more problems, we'll think of these problems as roadblocks. And each of these roadblocks needs to be resolved so that they can move on to the next stone and the next stone. That's probably the easiest way to break it up. So they've lost 3 stone, but now they can't get any farther. And then they come to work with me and we have a chat and we go through the Monroe method and we get to day 7 to day 14. And then I can say, okay, here is the problem. You are consuming a massive amount of fat. You're eating 100 grams of fat a day, 900 calories a day just from your fat intake. Let's talk about that. Where does it come from? Go take a look at your tracking for the last week. Go into NutriCheck. Look at your weekly nutrition summary. Tap on fat. Order from highest to lowest. And tell me which foods are at the top. Okay, so it's pizza, Chinese takeaway, chocolate. Okay. So we can take from that then, if you're eating 700 grams of fat in a week, which is a substantial amount, it's adding a lot of calories to your diet, and it's coming from those things, we can say that you are eating too much chocolate. It's not that you need to stop eating chocolate, absolutely not, but you're eating too much of it, and you're probably eating too much fast food, too many takeaways. Let's talk about that. Okay, how often do you eat chocolate? Well, probably most days, because it gets to this time at night, the kids go to bed, and I go to the cupboard and I get this thing. And once I've had 4 squares, I have more. Great, that's something we can work on. Let's talk about takeaway habits. How many takeaways do you have in a week? 3 to 4. Okay. Why does it need to be 3 to 4? Talk me through these. When did they happen? Why did they happen? Are they planned? Are they intentional? Is it you reacting to a bad day? Can you not be bothered? Talk me through that. And then we'll identify that, right? So by doing that, we can then have that conversation and say, right, it's not that you're not to eat any takeaways or you're not to eat any chocolate. It's not that at all. But what I can see from your balance of diet is that you're leaning too heavily in that direction. So instead of having 3 to 4 takeaways per week, let's bring that down to 1 to 2. But let's make them positive. Let's make them planned and intentional. So you told me that Thursday's your busiest night because you get up at this time and you've got this commute and the kids have got these clubs. That's fine. On a Thursday's a takeaway day, and it's no longer a negative reactive takeaway where you get home and say, oh, I can't be bothered cooking because I've been out all night, because those are horrible. We don't enjoy those ones. We want it to be a positive, intentional one. So Thursday night is one takeaway night, and then at the weekend, let's not do a takeaway on Friday and Saturday night. Pick one. Pick it at the start of the week. Speak to your partner, speak to the kids, ask everyone what they fancy having on Friday night or Saturday night. Chinese, Indian, pizza, fish and chips. Okay, kids, that's on our meal plan now. Saturday night is fish and chips night. And then the chocolate thing, I don't want to dive into it too much because I'm almost at the end of my walk. But the chocolate thing, okay, so instead of buying big sharing bars of Galaxy, what about you go and buy some smaller portions? What about you buy a packet of Freddos? Find something that you like that's in a smaller portion. Take one, don't sit and eat it in front of the TV. Eat it with intention, eat it mindfully, actually sit and engage with it. And then we talk about mindful eating. So when we go through that, we might then take that person's fat from 100 grams a day down to 50 or 60 grams a day, right? We've now saved them hundreds of calories every day of the week, and their weight starts moving again because we've identified and improved one roadblock. So it's not a plateau. They're not struggling anymore. It's okay, now my weight's moving again. And it's all because all we've done is find one of the roadblocks and made a change to it. And now, once you beat that roadblock, your weight starts moving again. And you lose the next 2 stone until your weight slows down or stops again. And then we go at it again and say, right, what's roadblock number 2? Okay, roadblock number 2 is that, we've got away with it for this long, but your 2,000 steps a day that you're doing, because you go from your bed to your car for an hour commute, from your car to a desk for a 8-hour working day, from your desk to a car, from an hour commute, from a car to the couch to watch TV all night. That sounds familiar to some of you. Your 2,000 steps a day is your next roadblock. So now, the next... And remember, these are not things that we're doing just to make the weight come down. This is us identifying at each stage of the process what the next thing is that person needs to change to start living like a goal version of themselves. So then we take a look at the 2,000 steps and say, okay, but I wouldn't just look at steps, because like I've worked with enough people now to know how much time people waste. Like I would ask, like, how much time are you giving to your phone? How many hours are you giving to the TV every week? And we would look at it, we would come at it from that angle. So it's not just about, okay, you need to do more steps. It's also, you need to know where your time is going. Okay, so you want to scroll your phone. Well, what if you went for a walk around the block for 20 minutes? That's 2,000 steps. 1,000 steps minimum per 10 minutes. You're doing 2,000 a day. If you go for a 20-minute walk per day and scroll your phone while you're doing it, you've increased your steps by 100%. Don't get lost in the whole, oh, but it's only 2,000 thing. It's fucking double what you're doing now. It's double the activity. That's a ridiculous increase in exchange for 20 minutes. So now, you're not just helping this person be more active, do more steps, you're helping them develop the habit of going for a daily walk, a habit that will tie in with the future version of them. So if it is 10 stone that they want to get to, this daily walk is going to be a part of their routine. The changes that they've made to the way that they use chocolate and takeaways is going to be aligned with the goal version of them. So you can see how changing these things at every stage is kind of conducive to helping them become the future version of themselves, become their goal weight long before they reach it. Yes, if you look at it from the perspective of, well, you're doing these things to help them lose weight along the way, yes, but you're also doing these things to help them become that different version of themselves. Remember, if these people don't come to work with me, then they're trying to do this by themselves and they're trying to force weight loss to happen. They're trying to force themselves to stick to numbers. They're trying to force themselves to get to a number on a scale. They're trying to force themselves to get to a goal weight. Whereas the angle that I'm coming at it from, it's always, okay, well, what's the next thing that's stopping you from moving forward? We identify it, we talk about it, and we resolve it or we improve it. And there's going to be multiple things like that. It's never just one or two things. It's countless things. So, right, what was the point of this episode again? Oh yeah, more weight loss, more problems. So, yes, as you lose weight, things are going to get better, but it's also going to get to multiple points where it's going to reveal why your weight increased in the first place. You know, maybe you were someone who used to make sure they got their weekly shop every Saturday and it's something you stopped doing. And now you don't have fresh food in the house, so you're eating stuff out the freezer or ordering Deliveroo or whatever more often. You know, these are the kind of things that are revealed as you lose weight. So you'll lose so much weight, you'll get so far, and then it gets to that point where your lifestyle can't help you get any farther. And that's when it's so valuable to have a coach in your corner to be able to look at it all, you know, look at everything that you've said in your check-in form, looking at your tracking, looking at the numbers, looking at the data, and I can say, okay, you're leaning too heavily in this way. We need to do a little more of this, or you're not doing enough of that. We need to do more of that. So yeah, don't get lost in the idea that this is purely a numbers game. Yes, calories in, calories out is the absolute core principle of fat loss, regardless of the method by which you're achieving it. It doesn't matter if that's Slimming World or Weight Watchers or whatever you're doing. That's the core principle. But it's never as simple as, I just need to eat less. I just need to eat fewer calories. I just need to burn more calories. It's far more complex than that. And it varies wildly. Yes, many people have many of the similar things going on. Like, most people are not eating enough protein. Most people are not eating enough fruits and vegetables. But it's more nuanced than that. And like I said, I gave you a few examples. You know, meal planning might be something that you need to do because you're not doing it right now. Cooking more meals, ordering less takeaways, snacking less often. Everybody has their own little unique combination of things that they are or aren't doing that they need to resolve. So remember, weight loss, it's not just about getting to a number on a scale. That's only part of it. It's understanding why the scales are where they are in a place that you don't want them to be, and then knowing the things that you need to focus on at each stage of the process so you can get to the next bit and the next bit and the next bit until you've resolved them all. Your weight has finally come down to where you want it to be, and because you've resolved everything along the way, your weight stays there. Right, that's enough from me. I have made it all the way back to the house, which I've never done before, while recording an episode. So, until next time.